Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Autonomy Podcast. And I am pleased to welcome Mala today. How are you, Mala?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time off of your Friday to do this. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your journey so far. You have started with us since, I would say, October. So that was around Diwali. So there was like these events happening and Christmas and all of that. So how's your journey going so far?
Yeah, sure. So I actually wanted to get in better shape because my wedding was coming up in December at that time. It was a couple months away. The weather was getting colder. I knew I was going to get a little bit lazier just in terms of working out and things like that. So I thought I needed more accountability. I saw some videos online from the company, just kind of really good tips on whether it's Diwali or like other holidays. And I thought it was easy, actionable things, but I wanted to find out more, a stricter, like, I guess, regimen and things like that. I reached out and I was connected to my coach. So it's been really good so far.
Nice. And what caught your attention about it? I felt like, this is interesting. I want to give that a shot.
I think definitely the tailoring to South Asian culture, whether it's like the food or even examples of healthier options. Obviously, things like talking about the specific holidays that South Asians have in our various regions and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely important to be on track when those holidays come because they're going to come again, So it's important to be knowing how to deal with them.
And I think also being a part of what depends, I guess, where in the world, but being a part of the various Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, some of these other holidays that aren't necessarily tied to South Asian culture necessarily, but also those. So
Absolutely makes sense because, living in America, South Asian community to be living abroad, you need to also adapt not only to your holidays, but also to the holidays of the country you're living at.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned your wedding. So how did the wedding go back in December?
Yeah, so a little bit maybe over the top because the Indian weddings are always a little crazy. But there was a wedding in India in December. It was several days. And then we also have a reception happening in March. So it's kind of both of these things. I think for the India wedding, I wanted to achieve certain goals, and that went really well. I was also able to, for the 2 weeks that I was in India, plan with my coach how to deal with some of the more cultural food, and not only the food, but maybe the changes in schedule and how crazy that can be. So that was really helpful. Yeah. And then now we're kind of on that next path to getting to the March events.
Absolutely. So it's clearly now the goal is to look good and be on that next gear, I guess, once March hits, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the March one, it's like a beach area. It's in Mexico. So I feel like there's some other aspects that are useful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do you feel like the key moment for you to join the program or decide to do something, was it like the wedding? Like it was like, hey, it's now or never. Like I want to get good, look good for my wedding.
Yeah, I think over the years, I've definitely kind of flip-flopped in terms of my weight or my goals. During COVID, like earlier in COVID, I had a virtual personal trainer, but that was very much just focused on working out and not necessarily guidance on diet. But I felt like even though I would try to eat healthy, I just didn't know if it was like would work for me because I think things work for different people. I also started to live with my fiance at the time, and he's an athletic guy. I feel like he would just make one quick change and then see a lot of positive results, and I was like not seeing that. Wanted to make sure it was like not a health thing, whatever. So kind of went down that path. That was all fine. So I was like, okay, obviously I'm not following the right regimen for me. And so I think that's really why I was interested, as well as the wedding coming up.
What did you feel different about autonomy versus what you have tried in the past that you felt like, this is working. I can be consistent with this because it's sustainable.
Yeah, I guess going back to the example of the personal trainer, that was nice for achieving some of my maybe like lifting goals or something like that. Maybe even like adding in some cardio or whatever. But it wasn't really about weight, and it wasn't really about some of these other goals. It was just workout related. And so I definitely wanted that nutrition aspect, but even then, nutrition resources out there, again, may not be geared toward South Asian diets. I definitely had the ability to like make my own stuff, but also, eat like Indian food or whatever it might be. So I think that's what drew me to autonomy. I think that ability to do both. Oh, and I also really liked the idea that we have a coach that we're like constantly sort of updating on things.
Yeah, it certainly adds a bit of a layer there to have, like, not also from a discipline or accountability point of view, but also guidance and support to know that you have somebody to ask questions or like, things like that.
Yes, definitely. And I think I enjoy chatting with her, so it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's important to build that rapport with your coach because this is a journey. You have to build that trust and support from that person you're working with for a long time.
Yes, for sure.
Perfect. So let me ask you this also, Mala, like how long have you struggled kind of like weight loss, trying to be on and off? You mentioned from COVID and stuff. So was it since COVID or have you struggled as well before
Yeah,
that?
so honestly, I'd say since I was quite young, I was in, I guess, what age was I? In my teens, like 14, 15. I felt like I was just heavier, definitely when it comes to sort of what the physician would say would definitely be overweight and such. And it didn't really like make sense to me because I felt like I was working out. My parents also kind of helped me with figuring out a healthier diet, but nothing would work. And so I ended up getting diagnosed with hypothyroid, then got on medication, and that really helped because then I could actually see results of working out or eating healthy. And I felt like, again, I was doing well for myself, definitely losing a lot of that weight from the stagnating sort of like metabolism as a result of the thyroid, and then leveled out at a certain point, hit college. I think there was some like, again, a lot of different lifestyle changes associated with that, kind of flip-flopped again. I'm like now in my 30s, and so I feel like throughout the last, every probably 3 to 5 years, I felt, okay, I need to kind of get back onto this. And then I would maintain it for some time, but it was really workout focused. I would just try to work out a lot, maybe just cut down what I was eating, but not necessarily change what I was eating. But I will say the time so far with my coach and with autonomy, I feel, okay, I can actually see how to incorporate foods I like alongside maybe healthier additional options instead of trying to just like cut it out for like a couple months and then it's not as sustainable.
I see. That's very interesting as well because it's not sustainable for us. There's no way we can be consistent in it,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
sorry. I think just to kind of finish off the story. Yeah, college, grad school, whatever it is, again, flip-flop every couple of years. Then COVID, I think, had the ability to kind of be at home and also cook and all of that more. And I think I was a bit more successful there, but then I still needed a bit more of a accountable push. And so
that you can get to that next level. Yeah, this is very important. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that leads me to my next question, actually, Paula, is what were the strategies adopted by your coach? You're working with Dimple, right? That helped you stay on track or be consistent?
So I think she's just been great at, I'll send her pictures of what I'm eating and whatever it is. And she has great guidance on the portions or swaps, even like kind of recipes and things like that. That's been nice. I think also planning ahead for when I have not just my wedding, but like attending other events and stuff like that, birthdays, whatever. I think it becomes a little bit difficult to plan on my own. So it's been nice to have her.
Yeah, certainly great to have that strategy of what to do when we go to socials because it is not the same as being at home, right?
Right. And then what I would do before, I think, before working with Dimple, oh, I have something coming up. Wait, there's also something else like the next weekend, the weekend after that. Let me just wait until there's this 2-month span when it's done and then I'll get back on track. But I feel like that obviously is also not very sustainable. So yeah.
And it's just a cycle. We just keep going on.
Right.
I'm going to start after this. I'm going to start after that. And then,
right.
yeah, it never ends because these events are just going to keep coming. We talked about in the beginning of the call, like, weddings are going to come, birthdays are going to come, Diwalis are going to come. What are we going to do?
For sure. I think it's been nice to at least rethink the process. And we've been working, another strategy we've been working maybe a bit more during the week, whether it's like more steps or cutting out carbs or something like that for just, again, short periods of time so that the weekend or whatever it is, I am able to relax a little bit more when it comes to some of the rules.
Yeah, that's great. So you can have kind of enjoy your time on socials, like on the weekends and still don't feel guilty at the end of the week,
Exactly. Like, for example, this week I've been doing my 12,000 steps, but today is Valentine's Day, so we have some plans. weeks later. So
Nice.
yeah, stuff like that.
That's awesome. And yeah, speaking about Valentine, like you going out, hanging out with the hubby, for example, what strategy is going to be adopted and you feel like you're ready to actually go and know what to do?
Yes, exactly. I even expressed to him like what kinds of strategies I try to use, like, okay, more veggies, protein and carbs within reason and stuff like that. We used to maybe go out to a restaurant and just kind of order a bunch of stuff and then eat some of it and then there's leftovers. And then I think what we've started to do is like, okay, let's order less. Let's order some sides, some veggie sides or whatever it is. Definitely keep our plate with that and then kind of like work on some of the other stuff. And it's been really nice. Like we share items. We probably don't have as many leftovers or not at all. And then it's been good. And I'm vegetarian, but he's not. So like sometimes there may be some differences there, but we'll try to strategize, especially when we're sharing.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Great to hear as well. And how do you feel the support you're getting from your husband throughout this journey, like 3 months, and he knows that you started this and the wedding's gonna come up in a couple months and then there's a receptions. How's it going?
Yeah. As I mentioned before, he's quite athletic, just has always been. I haven't been as much, but he's been really supportive in terms of like we both started playing pickleball together on a league and then we'll try to go to the gym together and he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, but still kind of at the same time. And then actually for our wedding, as a gift, he got me this membership to this HIIT studio. So I'm able to do some workouts there. So it's been really nice. I think when it comes to food, we also will try to, again, strategize in terms of cooking. For example, the other day I made like a Mexican style bowl with veggies and salad and salsa and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my protein was like a crumbled up Boca burger, but his protein, he had made some turkey earlier in the week and still being able to eat similar things, which is nice, something relatively new in the last 6 months, but then still supporting like our specific diets and goals and stuff.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It's important to have that support from who's living with us, family, husband, so that we can also stay motivated throughout the journey. So that's really great to hear. Tell me, Mala, what do you feel like you have learned so far that you did not know about before joining the program?
I think one of the main things, though I may have inadvertently, it worked, like something worked for me before, I just didn't know that was like why or that's what it was. So an example is kind of limiting some of the carb heavy meals that I have. Again, South Asian diet. Protein, yeah, sure, maybe, especially as a vegetarian, but the proportion of carbs to protein is probably not correct. And again, there's been times where I would restrict myself maybe too much and like I would see some progress, but again, not sustainable. But I've learned, I think, ways to make sure that that's sustainable. In the one plate method, for example, that Dimple and I have talked about, having veggies be that half and making sure I get that, then the protein quarter, the carb quarter or something. Instead of just forcing myself to have veggie salads with probably not much protein and definitely not much carbs. I was so hungry still and I would try to make up for that later. But being able to actually balance out the plate, taking pictures of it, honestly, whether it's for Dimple or not, it's helped me kind of keep track of what I've been eating too. So I think those are some of the main things for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly it helps you stay consistent, having that layer of guidance and support as well as self-accountability, I would say. Because when you want to take an image of the meal, like you want it to look perfect and it's like, yeah,
right, exactly.
Absolutely. I don't want to be called out from my coach. I'm going to do it like really perfect.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No. Especially steps. I work from home. So sometimes I find it a struggle, especially if it's a busy day, to get my steps in. But now I've been doing like a stand-up desk type of thing, trying to get my steps in. Like, no, Dimple's going to be disappointed otherwise. But yeah.
It certainly gets you motivated. Like at the end of the day, you want to do 12,000 steps and you look at your watch and it's like 10,000 steps. I need to get those 2K steps in.
Exactly. Let me fit in. Like sometimes we're watching TV. The TV is like in that area. I'm like walking in front of it while my husband's, what are you doing? So yeah.
That's fantastic. And that's, you felt that mindset when you started that program. Is that something that you will take on for the rest of your life as well?
Yeah, I definitely think, especially when it comes to, all right, we have a few weeks of just like maintaining sort of our healthy lifestyle, weekends as well. Great. Okay, I have some like stuff coming up. All right, why don't we make sure I can enjoy it by maybe amping up some of that? So I think those are strategies I'll definitely continue in addition to just trying to overall be healthy. healthy.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Tell me a bit as well, Mala, like, for you being as a smaller woman as well, like other people of your same weight, like kind of struggle with losing weight because it's so hard to lose weight when you're around the 55 kg, but you still manage to shift weight down. How do you feel right now? And what do you feel is next for you?
I think that really stems from, or like that's kind of the reason for my whole like flip-flopping. I think in the last, since probably my teen years, I've only probably lost the same like 10, 15 pounds. I'm not sure about the kilogram conversion, but the same like bit here and there. It hasn't been crazy. It's never been something since, again, the very beginning that a physician has even called out, but it's just like personal goals that I have. And it would be these crazy types of diets or exercise routines that would make it go down and then it would come back. So I think right now with a little bit more of this sustainable set of like eating habits and like just kind of improving step count and things like that, it's actually able to move past some of these what I thought were plateaus in the past, but are actually thresholds that I can continue to see differences in. Also like realizing that there's definitely fluctuations with water weight and stuff like that, especially after a weekend of eating out or drinking or whatever it is. I think even that has kept me more motivated. Like, okay, wait, it can come back down and then I can keep pushing it further. But again, never feeling like I am super restricting myself or not able to have a good time. So I think that's been super vital.
Absolutely, Mala. And what is the ultimate goal that you want to get at the end of this journey that will make you satisfied?
I think like sometimes I don't want to necessarily make it only about the scale. I think part of it is, perhaps how I feel in like my clothes, especially with like this next event coming up. I feel like some of the outfits I'm going to be wearing are more like summery or outdoor event related. And so making sure like my arms look toned and this and that. And I think a lot of it was definitely around not being able to like spot reduce certain areas, but overall perhaps losing fat or losing weight. And that's been nice to kind of see. And then also striving for that healthy look rather than just like a super skinny or super hungry look. I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, I think that's been a goal. So my next steps, probably a couple more just like overall pound on the scale, but maintaining that with a like build in muscle as well. So that overall like weight is low, muscle definition is there. And then I'm able to feel good in my clothes and at my events.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, that's great to hear. What do you feel you're currently doing or learned throughout this program that you never thought you would be able to do before?
Yeah, I think probably just, again, maintaining a diet that's been sustainable instead of just making me lose hope and then like go back to whatever I was doing before for a few years. That, and then even the like working out, I think there's days where I just don't feel like actually going and doing like going for a run or doing a class, but just getting the steps in has been helpful enough. And that's something I can do, just getting like random things done or going to get some errands done out there and stuff like that. So for example, I have to drop off some dry cleaning or something, and then I picked a dry cleaning place that was a 30-minute walk, and I'm like, perfect. Get in a nice hour and then go on with my day.
Yeah, that's like the mindset that you start developing, is that you want to add those activities to your daily chores. And that's like, really great to have, because this is something that you will take for the rest of your life. These small habits that you add, they become your lifestyle.
Yes, exactly. And I definitely have seen people with these healthier lifestyles or whatever. I'm like, oh, I can't be like them. I'm not always trying to run and bike and swim, but no, there's like other things. I think whatever fits within my like sort of abilities to change my behavior, trying to do that and think about that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And that's the mindset. Like, we want to learn every day. We want to improve every day, and never say never. Like, if you believe it, just do it.
And then also another thing, I mean, this is silly, but my husband, he can, for example, if he wants to lock in, he can eat the same meal for like 4 years. I cannot do that. And so honestly, it's been a lot of cooking and prepping and such. And I never thought of myself as somebody who cooks that much. Like I maybe like put together some simple sandwich or something. But now I'm like trying to make it more creative, make it taste better, make whatever. So that's been cool too.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm really looking forward, I believe, like catching up with you maybe around the summer, like after the reception, and maybe have a part 2 of this episode episode with Mala as well to see how you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right, Mala. So my last question to you would be, what are 3 tips you would give to somebody who is embarking on this journey, who are starting new?
I think I like my to-do lists and like checking things off. So I definitely think whether it's through the Autonomy app itself, because I know that there's some great like things to put on there that you can check off, working with your coach, or even if you're not necessarily your own to-do list, making sure you put everything on there so you can track it. Your water, your steps, your calories, your meals. For example, oh, I need to go shopping for these other ingredients that I don't have, like that kind of stuff. So just like making sure everything is tracked on a list, and then it makes you feel better, crossing it off or checking it off for the day. And then you can just relax at the end of the day because you know that you've done everything that you need to do. I think that's one tip. I think another tip associated with meal preps and such, like I was mentioning, making sure that the groceries and all of that, everything that you need, you just get in excess. And then even snacks and things like that. Excess meaning like, obviously, for example, I know I like to snack on like baby carrots and cucumbers. I'll even cut up the cucumbers and have it in some containers. So when I'm hungry, I'm like, all right, I need to snack on this and not on whatever not as healthy item. That's been great. Eating my veggies first, I guess, kind of part of that, making sure those things are accessible. And then the third tip, I think kind of going back to how I've built in steps into my day. There's the ability to take a meeting walking in place, or watching TV walking in place, or adding an errand that's like further away so that you have to get those steps in. Those have been really vital in me getting my 10 or 12,000, because otherwise I would think, okay, I have to go do a run to get these steps, and then I need to shower after that, and then I don't have time before dinner, and then I'm just not going to do it. I feel like, no, I think there's ways to just definitely build it in otherwise. So
yeah, those are definitely great tips to anyone starting a journey, because when you start something new, you're always like sometimes intimidated, like you don't know what to expect.
For sure.
All right, that's amazing to hear. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on this podcast, Mala, and really looking forward to the future, seeing how the reception is going to go, how we're going to get to the summer, and how we're going to transform with this program.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great speaking with you.
Perfect. Amazing. Wish you all the best, and we'll catch up later.
Sounds great.